Excellent. So now how do we tell Spring Data that these classes are related to that table, to those tables? So how do we tell it? This is the way we can tell it. So let's start with the menu item, which is the simpler. First thing we need to tell Spring Data is that this is an entity. So I'm going to use the annotation entity. You see? And now this has a name, and this is the name of the table. Our table is called menu underscore item. Okay. So now there is an error here. It's telling me there is no primary key for this. So I need to add the ID annotation. So I'm going to add the annotation here, ID, and I'm going to tell Spring Data that this is auto-generated, that we don't need Spring Data to generate it, or that we are not going to be generating it on our own. So this is a generated value, and the strategy we are going to use identity, which is the way we should the one we should use in MySQL. The way Spring Data can connect the fields of the entity is by basically matching the names. So this one has a match with the menu item column called ID, and the same with name, for example. This one matches with this one, and then we have price that matches with this one, but restaurant ID doesn't match exactly because this one has an underscore and this one doesn't have anything. So to fix this, I'm going to add an annotation here, column, and this has a name attribute, the same as entity, and I'm going to call this restaurant ID. So, and that's it. That's how we mapped this entity into this table. So now Spring Data knows that this is connected to this table. Now we're going to do the same, but with the restaurant. So in the case of the restaurant, it's a bit more complex because we have a relationship. So let's start with the easy part. The entity here is going to be name, and the name is restaurant. Easy. Now we have to add the ID column, so ID, and then generated value, strategy, and the strategy, remember, has to be identity. So generation type identity. Everything seems to be okay, but this one, it's complaining. So how do we fix this? We have to add an annotation. First, we have to add one which tells Spring Data about this relationship. So I'm going to say one-to-many. So this is a one-to-many relationship. One restaurant can have many menu items. Once that I have that, I'm going to have to add a few descriptions for this relationship. So there's one thing called the fetch argument. Fetch, if you see here, we have two options, eager or lazy. And this is a distinction that will tell Spring Data how to load this data. It means, do you want me to load all the elements in the list with the main entity? Or do you want to just load the main entity, and then whenever you need the elements of the collection, we do more queries? For this scenario, which is a very simple scenario, we're going to be using eager, which means I want to load everything with the initial query. I don't want to have one entity and then the rest of the list all with successive queries. This would be the lazy option. The lazy option is very useful if you are working in an environment where, let's say, you have every restaurant has, I don't know, thousands of menu items, and you just want to have the list. You don't want to load everything in memory because it's a lot of data, and also you don't really need the whole list all the time. You just need a few items of the list. So in those cases, lazy would be better. But in our case, we're going to be using eager because we really need them. Okay. Then we have the target entity. This one is simple. It's a menu item. Sometimes this is not required because Spring can infer it from here, but we just put it. And the last one is I'm going to it's called Cascade, and it will tell Spring Data to update. Whenever I update the restaurant, it has to update the menu items as well. So Cascade type all. And the other thing that we need to have here is the join column. It's a different annotation. It's not part of the one-to-many. So we put join column, and we're going to say name, restaurant ID, restaurant ID. So now this is mapped to the menu items restaurant ID. So we are telling Spring Data this is a column that you need to join both restaurant and menu items. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel so that you can get notifications every time there is a new video. Bye!